Hey, hope you all are doing well. Today I will be talking about money, specifically how to make more money as a nurse. So obviously the amount of money that you make as a nurse is going to depend on your experience, your location, and your unit. So of course, as a new grad nurse, you're probably not going to make that much money unless you live in a place like California or New York. I live in the South, and as a new nurse in the South, you don't get paid that much. I mean, I get paid enough to live comfortably and to, take care of all my bills by myself, but it's not anything near as much as what I would make as a nurse in some place like New York or California. One of the things that I love about nursing is that we get shift differentials. So that basically means that you get paid different amounts depending on the shift or the hours. For example, you would get paid more to work night shifts or weekends. So I'm going to put up a list of the different shift differentials that we have where I work. These shift differentials really come in handy, and they make a big difference in how much you get paid. So starting off as a new grad, I had to work rotating shifts for the first year. So sometimes I would do day shifts, sometimes I would do night shifts. And of course, I have to work a certain number of weekends too. So whenever I would work nights or weekends, I would get more money. Now that I have been at my job for a little over a year, I am able to decide whether or not I want to continue rotating shifts, do just day shift or just night shift. So I decided to do night shift because one, I like night shifts better, and two, the pay is better. So if you really do the math, you'll see that going from day shift to night shift, you get a pretty decent bump in how much you make. And obviously a lot of people don't want to work weekends. You want to have your weekends off, spend time with your friends and family. But if you pick up some extra weekend shifts, some extra night shifts, that's a good bit of extra money in your pocket. So do that if you want some more money. Another way to make more money is to pick up overtime shifts. So obviously as a full-time nurse, I work 3 shifts a week. But if I want to pick up an extra shift, I can. All I have to do is basically look at the schedule and see if there are any open extra shifts, and then I just sign up for it and wait for it to be approved. So when you work overtime, obviously you get paid time and a half. Let's say your base pay is $20 an hour. So if you pick up an overtime shift, you would be getting $30 an hour instead of $20 an hour, because time and a half is your base pay plus half of your base pay. So 20 plus 10, because 10 is half of 20, that gives you $30 an hour. And where I work, you don't get paid overtime until you've reached over 40 hours in 1 week. So let's say I do my regular 3 shifts, that's 36 hours. And let's say I pick up an overtime shift. The overtime shift pay, the time and a half, won't start until after my first 4 hours, because I have to reach 40 hours before I get paid time and a half. Also keep in mind that sometimes when you do sign up for overtime, you may get canceled if census is low, so you may not get that shift. One great tip that I have to maximize the amount of money you make is to do your overtime shift on a weekend night. This is like my favorite thing to do. So if I sign up to work, let's say Monday, Friday, and Saturday, and they say that they're short-staffed on Wednesday and need someone to come in, I'll be like, okay, I'll come in on Wednesday, because that overtime shift is not going to be Wednesday. The overtime shift will be the last shift that week, which will be my Saturday night shift. So not only will I be getting paid time and a half for overtime, I'll also be getting paid the night shift differential, and I'll be getting paid the weekend shift differential on top of that. So if I do like a weekend night shift as overtime, I can bring in like an extra just for that one shift. And that's just with my little pay. If you work someplace that pays, more than what I make, you're going to make even more money. Also, working on holidays is a great idea because once again, you get paid time and a half. An even better way to make extra money would be to sign up for your unit's text list. So usually the charge nurse will have a phone, and if someone calls out or you're just short-staffed, the charge nurse will send out texts asking for someone to come in. So a lot of times if no one responds, the charge nurse may send another text with more incentives for you to come in. So they may offer a float pass, meaning you don't have to float to another unit if you don't want to. Maybe they'll offer a $25 gift card, or maybe they'll even offer critical staffing pay, so something like an extra $8 an hour on top of your overtime. Also at my job, once you hit 2 years, you are trained to work as a charge nurse. And a charge nurse does get paid an extra $1 an hour, so that's another way to make a little bit more money. Another way to make extra money would be to take some classes. So classes like PALS, BLS, NRP, we get paid for all of those things. So anytime that I would take a class, whether it was like a new grad orientation thing or if it was just something that I was doing on my own like PALS, I would get paid for it. And the amount that I got paid for this was just my regular base pay. So it's great to sign up for classes because 1, you get paid for it, and 2, it's an extra certification. It's something great that goes on your resume and it makes you look good. You can also get paid when you come in for staff meetings, which is something that I usually don't do. I usually will just call in, or I'll just go to the staff meetings if I'm already on the unit. But if you don't want to call in and you want to come in and get paid, you can do that too. Another thing that I love about my job is that we get paid hourly instead of salary. Of course, there are pros and cons to being paid both salary or hourly, but I really like the hourly pay because if I stay late and I have to work 13-hour shift and I'm not leaving until 8 o'clock, I'm getting paid for that. So let's say that I had to stay late at work twice in 1 week because I have a really sick patient. So I typically would work 36 hours, but let's say I stay an extra hour twice that week. That would be 38 hours instead of 36, and I would get paid for it. But remember that it will not be counted as overtime because overtime does not start until after you hit 40 hours. Another way that nurses make more money is through their bonus check. So last year I started working around August, and then around Christmas time I noticed a lot of my coworkers were talking about their bonuses and getting handed a little letter. I of course did not get a bonus because I had only been there for a few months. So I think you have to be there for at least maybe like a year before you get your bonus check. But this year in October I got my very first bonus check, and it was so nice. It was more than I expected. So what they did is take a certain percentage of how much money you made the previous year, and that's including your overtime, just all the money you made. They take a certain percentage of that and they pay you a bonus. They give you a bonus check, and of course it is taxed, but still it was a lot more than I expected, and I was so thankful for it. The next way that nurses make extra money is through promotions. So I started off obviously as a CN1, a clinical nurse 1, and once I had a year of experience I was promoted to a CN2, and so that gave me an increase in my pay. Of course, you can also be promoted to a CN3 and a CN4, so each time your pay will go up, and obviously with more experience you have, you will get paid more. This is why it's very important to know what is required of a CN2 or CN3 or CN4, and that's why it's also important to be involved on the unit, attend staff meetings and things like that, because it counts towards your evaluation, and your evaluation kind of determines whether or not you're going to get paid more. So guys, as you can see, there are a ton of ways to make extra money as a nurse. I know a lot of times people are like, nurses don't get paid a lot of money, but trust me, you can, especially if you do something like travel nursing. You're going to make some real bank. And I remember when I first accepted my job offer, my mom asked me how much they offered me, and I told her, and she was kind of like, ooh, that's it. But then I explained to her the shift differentials, and it makes a big difference. In my offer letter, they had my salary, what it would be with just the base pay. But once you include all of the night shifts, weekend shifts, education, all that stuff, you make a lot more money than the base pay for your salary states on your offer letter. Alright, so that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and have a lovely day. I will see you guys next time. Bye.